All right, what's up, everyone? Hopefully, everyone had a wonderful day. Didn't get too cold in your area. Man, it was nasty cold here in Houston. I mean, we had rain, we had cold. That's just a bad combination any way you look at it. It's just too much of all of it. You know what I'm saying? But it is Texas. So, tomorrow will probably be sunny and 90 degrees. That's why people are always sick in Texas, because this weather is just unpredictable. Trust me, the weather people can never get it right. All right, guys. So some of you probably already know that I did try to go live earlier today, but the storms were creating somewhat of a hindrance to my live endeavors. So I decided I was going to go live again tonight, just so we can go over some of the things that I had been talking about a little bit earlier today. But this way we can, spend a little bit more time really talking about those specific items and going a little further into detail. Okay. So starting off this evening, the first thing I really want to talk about, guys, for a lot of you is Photoshop and Lightroom. So if you guys have not yet, taken the journey, I'm still on the journey. I'm still on the path, as Kung Fu would say. I'm still, walking the path. I feel like I learn something new every day in Photoshop, no matter what it is. I learn whether it's, watching other people's tutorials or even during some of the times when I'm doing teaching sessions, I realize things that maybe I hadn't realized before that makes it more efficient the way I move forward, the next time I, attempt, one of these different little skill sets. So learning is a big part of it, like anything else. But, Photoshop, for the most part, is not as complex as people make it out to be. Lightroom is relatively simple. Everything in Lightroom is just, as simple as it can be. Once you bring your images in, we'll look at a little bit of that tonight, as well as Photoshop. Getting your images to go from Photoshop back over to Lightroom is really not that difficult once you understand, how to get started. And I think that's where most people have their biggest problem. They don't know where to get started, and there's so much misinformation out there about, Photoshop and what you need to learn and, how much time you need to invest in it and, things like that. For the most part, for a lot of people, you only need to learn the basics, just the basics for whatever it is that you're trying to do. So, that's what we're going to, touch upon a little bit tonight. So we're going to look at Lightroom really quickly here. But just before we go over there, guys, right now you can sign up for Photoshop and Lightroom together for $9.99. Man, that's an amazing deal. Now, that is a subscription, so that's monthly. But for that monthly subscription, you get a lot of benefits, including 20 gigs of storage on the Adobe server. And that comes in really handy. I use it on occasion, when I'm working on projects and I want to be able to, put them in an environment where, maybe someone else that I'm working with can gain access to those files relatively easily. And it just makes it that much easier for me, so I can do my part of it and then upload it. Then they can do their final, touches or whatever they're going to do. And then it just, it's a seamless process. All right, so let's take a look at Lightroom here real quick. So as you see here on my dock, I have Photoshop and Lightroom. Now, I also use Capture One, but, for this live, we're just going to focus on what we can get from Lightroom and Photoshop. And like I said, for your subscription, you're going to get both of these applications. So Lightroom itself, for the most part, I know some photographers that don't use anything other than Lightroom, and they'll do all of their work in Lightroom. Now I somewhat do that on occasions. It just depends on what it is I'm shooting. So like what you're seeing here is, from a fitness shoot. If the client of the day, all they wanted was the high quality images, without a lot of retouching or something like that, then it's a good chance that, what came off the camera, once I go in and do a few little lighting adjustments. So, I can go in here and maybe raise the exposure just a little bit and, roll off the contrast because she's really, really tan. And that was, also something that was going on with the lighting. I could do most of it right here. They just wanted the raw images, for whatever it is they were going to be working on, we could start here. Now, Lightroom also has a lot of presets that are built in, as well as presets that you can add yourself. So you can install a ton of different presets in here, and you're able to do a lot of special effects. So let's say, for instance, here's some that are just for, lighting effects. So you can see as I mouse over these, the different things that are happening to this photo, right? And a lot of these, like I said, come with Lightroom. Now others you will have to find and install, or some you'll buy. It just depends on which ones you're interested in. Like for myself, the only ones that I would probably use right off just the top of my head is maybe something that's fashion oriented. So there are some fashion presets in here that you could use. Some of them are really over the top, but it gives you a starting point, just to give you an example. But I want you guys to see that, this panel over here. So that's what this panel does. It's for all of your presets. And as you can see here, as I scroll, there's a ton of presets in here that I have saved. But like I said, I don't use very many of them, because usually once I get my image where I want it, lighting wise or whatever, then I'm going to move it over to Photoshop to do the final editing. Now, for you who probably are not familiar with, how Lightroom does work. So let's say, for instance, I take this image and I'm going to do some basic adjustments. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to adjust the shadows a little bit and lighten everything up. And then I'm going to, let me grab this. I want to adjust the white balance just a little bit. So I want to see where the white's falling. So all I'm doing is holding down the Option key, so I can see how much exposure is there into the whites. That's way too much, so I'm going to bring that back right about there. And then I can do the same thing with the black point. Just when the black just starts to creep through, I know that's good enough. Okay, so let's say that I'm happy with this, as it is. This looks perfect, right? So now what I can do is I can come over and then select multiple images, and then I can just sync them based on, the first image. So let's say this is our first image. Then we could come down and we could pick, however many other images and just hit sync. Now from here, you can go in and decide, what do you want to sync from this image? So if you want to sync everything, you just hit sync. If it's just specific things that you want, you can, kind of a la carte pick what you want and then just hit sync. And then all of them will now have those presets, built into them. So you can see one that's not versus one that has the adjustments. Okay. So quickly enough. So let's say we're happy with, say, this image here as an example. First thing I would do before I went any further is I would probably do a quick crop on this, because we have a lot of headroom. So I just go ahead and knock some of that headroom off. And then I would bring the image into Photoshop. But before you go into Photoshop, you do have a lot of features here that you can work with. You have your exposure, you have texture, clarity, you have, your vibrance and saturation. You also have curves that you can work with. So it's just a ton of different things you can do right here in Photoshop, including some color grading. So if you're interested in color grading, this is also an excellent piece of software that you will be able to do some baseline color grading. If all you're going to do is just, do your color grading and set up your images, you can do it all right here in Lightroom, realistically. But for a lot of us, we're going to take this image over to Photoshop, and we'll just go here to edit, and then you choose the Photoshop version that you're using. So in my case, it's Photoshop 2022, and I just click on that, and it's going to ask me, which version of the image or variant of the image I want, and then I just click, edit. And then now what it's going to do is going to open Photoshop, and then it's going to transfer that image over in a TIFF format. Now, in my case, it's going to open it in Camera Raw, because I have mine set up to open images in Camera Raw. Oh, no, I take that back. I changed that last night because it was slowing everything down. Okay, so really quickly here, so it brought the image in, so now I can do all of my retouching, for this image. Now, we'll come back to this a little bit later, as we demonstrate some of the other things in the carousel, which is going to be a number of these different tablets that I want to look at tonight. So let's switch back over. Okay, so let's go back and look at the next tablet that I have here in the carousel. Now, what I did for you guys, because a number of you, spoken out about, being on a budget and getting started. and making the investment. So what I did was I went especially looking for lower price tablets here on Amazon. Some of them are renewals, and what that means is the product probably came back into Amazon and then they checked it out, they made sure everything was working perfectly, and then they're giving it to you at a discounted price. Now when you see these renewal tablets or any items under the renewal portion of Amazon, they're limited. So you're not going to find, say for instance, 50 of these, at any given time, so you just kind of, if you see it, jump on it if that's what you're looking for, right? So here's a tablet, this one right now. This is the Intuos. This is a wireless graphics tablet. It's for Mac and PC. It works with the Chromebooks, and it also works with some Android phones. It just depends on which phone you're using. But the advantage to this one is very similar to my Pro tablet, in that it has at least 4 customizable buttons that you can use to set up your different presets. So if you're using Photoshop, or you're using Lightroom, or you're using Capture One, for instance, or maybe even Final Cut, or just a drawing, application, whatever you're using, you can go in and set up these buttons to do special functions, that you can use during your editing process. Now, a lot of these tablets also come with trial software, and the trial of the software lasts about 3 months. So especially if you're into art, there's 3 different applications that you guys will get a license for that you'll actually be able to use for 3 months, and then and at that point you'll be able to determine if there's something that you want to invest further in. Now I see here, let's see what we got here. We got a 90-day trial for Aftershot Pro. We have a 90-day trial for a Painter Essentials 8, and then we have a 2-year license for Painter Pro. That's interesting. So again, if you're an artist, hey, this could be a really, really good deal for you for only $49.95. $49.95, guys. Come on. That's an amazing price for what you're getting. You're getting the tablet. You're getting, the Wacom guarantee for one, and as well as, you're getting a really high quality pen that you're able to do your retouching. Now, different from the Pro tablets, the below Pro line, your levels of sensitivity is 4,096 levels of pressure sensitivity. But trust me, that's more than enough. Because if you look back historically, the Wacom tablets, even their Pro tablets, before the new line came out, a lot of those tablets were in that exact same pressure range, and people were using those for productions and creating content, all over the world. So don't, be fooled by the fact that you think somehow you have to have the 8,000, plus levels of pressure sensitivity, because most of us will never really know the difference or feel the difference, when it comes to editing with these tablets. But like I said, I wanted to find some that were really good deals, for you guys. So if you're interested, or you watch this live later and you say, oh, wow, I really want that, come over, follow the link, and try and add this to your cart as soon as you can, and benefit from it, guys. So, that's the whole purpose for me being here, other than, just having fun, is to make sure that, whatever content that I put out here, any products that I put out is something that I've either used, experienced in detail, or, something that I'm very, very interested in. Okay. So let's look at the next tablet. Now, this one is the Wacom. This is the one by Wacom. And I had this tablet originally. I think when I first started, exploring tablets in the Wacom line. Now, really, I actually had another tablet a long time ago, which was a Wacom Bamboo tablet. I think they still make those. I'm not sure if they do or not. But, I had one of those, and that was like, 10, 12 years ago that I had that tablet. But, way back then, my computer didn't work well with it. It wasn't jiving well. So I just kind of gave up on it. But, now I see the benefit of these tablets. So even if you're getting started, now this is a new one that we're looking at here. This is a brand new tablet, and this one comes with a lot of the same features. The only difference is it does not have the programmable buttons. So this is like the baseline, starter tablet. Maybe you'd get it for, a student or something like that, someone who's just now starting to use these tablets. But a lot of people today, because they're working from home, they're using these tablets as a part of their everyday workflow. They use it like a mouse, they use it as a pointer, they use it, for handwriting, all different types of things these tablets can be used for. And the more you experiment with them, you'll be amazed at all the things you can get out of these tablets, but like I said, for a really good price, so the small is $59.95 and the medium size is $104. Okay, so you can choose from the small or the medium, and the medium is $59.95. The small is $59.95, and the medium is $104. But like I said, this is a good little starter tablet, and I actually used this for about, I want to say about three or 4 weeks. I used it. But I'm one of those kind of people, guys, you know what I'm talking about. I'm one of those kind of people that, I'm always looking to make sure, whatever it is that I'm using, is going to grow well with me, in the future. So there is another one here, that is also renewed. I think it's $96.33. You guys can definitely look at that one. So we're going to move along, past to the more pro line. So the next tablet that I have here in the carousel, I believe also is renewed, because I can tell by the price. So that is the small version of the tablet that I'm currently using right now. And this is the Wacom Intuos Pro Small. And the way you can tell the difference between the Pro and the small and the medium, excuse me, the medium has 8 programmable buttons, and the small has 6. Okay. Now, when I purchased the small originally, I think I paid $200 and something for it. I can't remember exactly how much it was, but this is another one of the renewals that I found for you guys. This one is $169.99. That is an amazing price for this tablet. And you get the Pro Pen with this version of the Wacom tablets. Now, this pen will give you the, let's look at some of the features here. It does give you the full 8,000, plus levels of sensitivity. So that's what a lot of people are interested in, if they're doing, some high-end retouching or something like that. Like we'll experiment with a little bit of that later today. Now, it says here operating system Windows, but that's not necessary. Well, it works for Windows, obviously, but it also works on Mac, because I've used these on my Mac, all my Macs with no issues. And these tablets are all Bluetooth, and you can also connect to them via USB if that's something that you're interested in. So you can definitely do that. All right, so this is the small renewed version of the Intuos Pro Small. Okay, so let's see what else we got here. Now I think this is the, let's see, this should be the medium. Let me be sure. Yes. So this is the same tablet that I have right now. So I have the medium, and let me show you here real quick. So this is the medium tablet here that you see here on my desk. And as you can see, it has the 8 programmable keys, and it has the circular rotating dial that you have here that you can program. With the medium and the large, you can have up to 4 different settings that you can, set up different presets for this dial itself, as well as, program each one of the individual keys. So, realistically, guys, that's a really good deal, especially if you're starting out and you're really thinking about, really, upping your, retouching game, your video editing game, or whatever it is. These tablets come in handy. And I mean, like I said, I use them for everything. I use my tablet for Photoshop, Final Cut, Capture One, Lightroom, any number of different applications. I can come in and set, special keys and everything just for those. And even, Affinity Photo and some of the other applications that I may use, I use that, for this tablet for almost all of those. And another really cool thing about these tablets that some other tablets may have this as well, but you also have the feature where you can turn the entire tablet into a touchpad, just like you have the touchpad on your computer. So that means you're able to pinch and zoom and, scroll with your fingers and do all that kind of stuff. So, that's another really, really cool feature that you get with these tablets. Now, the next version up to the tablet is one that I had really been interested in. I don't think I'm going to buy it anytime soon, but it does interest me. Now, I'm really interested right now in learning, how to draw and how to paint. And this paper version of the Wacom tablet here has a lot of really unique features. One of the features is that it has this little clip, and you can clip a piece of paper onto the tablet itself. And it comes with two different pens. It comes with the Pro pen, and it also comes with a additional pen that actually writes, ink. And then what you're able to do with that one is that you're able to draw on your surface on the paper. And then as long as it's, connected by Bluetooth, your tablet, or by USB, it can transfer that information over to whatever, photo editing or drawing application that you're using. And, even though you're creating a real world version of your art, you're also, creating a digital version of it at the exact same time. Now that's pretty cool. And the fact that it comes with the two pens, so you get the Pro pen itself, and then you get the other pen, which is for actual drawing, and I think it comes with a number of the different ink cartridges along with it. Now, this tablet is $549.95. Again, bargain deal. It's not on sale. I haven't seen this one on sale recently, but I do notice that it says they have one in stock. So, if you're an artist and you're thinking about something like this, this might be one you want to jump on, because they literally only have one in stock of this variant of the Wacom tablets. And I believe both of these come in. Well, they only have one, but if you were purchasing this, you could get this in a large or in a medium, size for this tablet. All right, so let's keep rolling. So I'm going to skip some of the tablets because it's just redundant of the same thing. Like there's the large version of the Wacom tablet, like we were looking at before. The large is just the larger variant of the Wacom tablet, no different than the one that I have here. Now you will find some of these that have these little bundles that come with it, and that's what I was looking for, to put in the carousel for you guys. This one comes with a 128 gigabyte SD card. It also comes with some other pens, and that's our tablet. So, you get, for what most people would pay for this tablet, the large version of it, the $499.95, you're getting some other accessories that come along with it. Now, when we go back to my desk view, I'm going to show you my tablet and all the things that came with it. And, you guys can kind of just, make up your own minds from that point. So now they do have some other accessories that I'm really interested in. Now, I've already scratched up my surface on my tablet from, editing, quite a bit. So it's a good chance I'm going to order one of these texture sheets, and you can get them for the medium as well as the large. You can replace the surface, and those are the only two sizes that you can replace the surface on. The small, you cannot. So they have a standard version of the texture, and then they have a more rough version of the texture, and I think that one is $39.95, and then the standard one looks like it's the same price, which is also $39.95. And basically what you can do is you can just remove the surface and then replace it with another new surface when you get to that point, So that's what I mean by these tablets will last you a lifetime. So if you're really interested in, this type of creativity, making an investment in one of these tablets that can last, for years, is a win. Now, I don't use a stand for my tablet. One of my really close friends, we were live together a couple of weeks ago, and I noticed that he was using one of these stands, for his tablet next to his laptop, because they were kind of, at an awkward angle on this kind of circular desk that he works at. So he likes having it, in that orientation. Now I have a stand like this, one for my MacBook, and then I have another one that's similar to this for my iPad. But I haven't found necessity for something like this for my Wacom tablet, but some of you may. So, I know he loves it. So that's why I went ahead and threw this in there, because, a lot of you may be, of the same mind, and you're interested in having, some type of elevation for your tablet. And you can get this stand right here for $26.99. And it looks like it's a pretty good deal. It looks like it's pretty sturdy. I see there have been quite a few reviews on it. There's been like 57 reviews on this stand, and the star rating is very high. So that's usually what I look for, is things that I see that other people have liked and they're happy with it. That's a win. Now, another tablet that you guys may want to take a look at is the tablets that have screens. Okay, so some of these tablets are very similar to what you would find on, say, an iPad, as an example. Now, this is another renewed one. Like I said, I'm trying to stay with that theme. So this is the Wacom One. Their names, just like Rode, their names are so funny to me, because it's like they reuse the same name over and over again. But anyway, this is the Wacom One, and this is a graphics tablet, but it also has a built-in screen. So you're able to actually draw on this tablet, but you're looking at exactly what it is that you're working on. So if you're editing a photo or something like that, you're going to see that photo, the photo that's, on your computer, it would be on this screen. Now, similarly, what I used to do is before I had a tablet, what I was doing was I would connect my iPad to my MacBook. And then with Sidecar, I would just, connect via Sidecar, and then I would drag, my Photoshop image over to the iPad, and then I would use the Apple Pencil, kind of like what I'm doing with the Wacom tablet. Now, the sensitivity wasn't the same, it wasn't the same as working with the Wacom tablet, but, it is an option, and I've done it, quite a few times. Now, the thing that you have to take into consideration when you get one of these tablets, it does have to be connected to a computer. So that's, this is usually going to be something that you're going to set up on a desk, and you're going to use this, in your studio or in your home office or something like that. I don't think this will transport very well, but it will definitely give you a different type of insight when you're doing your retouching. And Wacom has quite a few of these tablets that, have the built-in screens, and we'll look at a few more. So, another one that has the built-in screen. Now, this one's a little bit more expensive, but this is the Wacom Cintiq. This is the 16-inch. Now, this one comes with the Pro Pen. So you get the exact same pen that you get with the Wacom Intuos Pros, which is a really good combination. Now, on this one, just like the other one, you're drawing directly onto the screen. I think this one is HD. I don't think it's 4K. No, it's not 4K. So this is an HD display, and it has 16.7 million color bits. So, I mean, that, is relatively, good for, judging color and things like that. So when you're doing artwork, or you're doing, basic photo retouching on this tablet, I think you're going to get a really good result from it. Hopefully I'll get some of these tablets in here really soon, and I'll be able to do a hands-on review of these, but tonight what we're going to do is kind of a hands-on use case scenario of the actual tablet that I have, right here in my home office. Okay. But like I said, this is a really good tablet for, artists, video production people. If you're doing, video editing, you could use this almost as a second monitor, and you can edit directly onto this and use your pen to control all of the controls in your editing suite. So, it just gives you a different type of way of interacting with your content. That's one of the things that I like the most about these tablets. It just feels like, I'm drawing on paper, or I have a deeper insight into what it is that I'm working on. So, and obviously, yes, they both work with Mac and Windows. Now, this one is, it's a little heavy. I think this one is 4.9, 19 4 pounds, 19 ounces. That's what it is. So yeah, that's a little heavy. That's probably heavier than my tablet, MacBook, and iPad combined. So yeah, it's got some weight to it. But if you're setting this up on your desk, for working, then you should be fine. It's going to be a good tablet for you. All right, so let's see what else we got here in the carousel. Now the next tablet is really getting into, the pro end of Wacom's tablets. This is the stuff, that many of us will want to look at some point, and try and decide if, this is the right direction for us. Now, this is the Wacom Cintiq Pro 32 inch. Now, this one is 4K. So you're going to get a 4K graphics screen, and it comes with the little remote. So this little remote that you see here on the side is where all of your control buttons and everything are going to be placed. That's what you're going to use to control the tablet itself. And obviously it still comes with the Pro Pen, and that's going to give you that 8,192 pressure levels. It has, it has tilt capabilities. These pens are just amazing, but I really am impressed with the little remote. I never purchased one, but I have a few friends that have them for their tablets, and every time I go over to their studio or something, I'm constantly touching them and playing with them because I just love the fact that the buttons, have you can program them to do anything, just like the buttons we have on the Intuos Pro. So, like I said, you will see that here in a little bit. So, like I said, there's quite a few other tablets in here, and they kind of go up in price range, and you guys can kind of go through and look at these here in the carousel. There's some other things that I like that I've looked at. There's other pens. There's a few little adapters that you guys can look at. Now, another thing that I really like, and I don't know if I'm going to buy one of these, but I do like it. And they have a slim pen. And let me show you that. So this is just like the Pro Pen for the most part, but it's a much slimmer version of the Pro Pen. It's almost like a pencil, and it has the same things. You have your eraser at the rear of it, and you have your regular nib at the front, and then you have your buttons that you use to control your functions built into the pen. And, obviously most of the other things are going to be the same. It definitely has the same amount of pressure sensitivity, but it's a much slimmer profile, as you can see in comparison to what the standard Pro Pen looks like. So I think probably going forward, that might be something that, I think maybe in some way Wacom might start slimming these pens down a little bit. Now, it feels good in the hand. I mean, when I use my Wacom pen, I feel really good using it. So I don't feel like, I have a brick or a log or something in my hand. So that's not the case. All right. So I want to show you guys here real quick. We're going to come back to Photoshop here in a second. And that's Lightroom. So once you get your tablet and you have everything set up, Wacom gives you this, let me connect my tablet here real quick. And you'll see that it connected. It'll say connected. There we go. And then the Wacom desktop center thing will pop up. And we just want to click on that here real quick. And instantly it gives you a little bit of information. Like the first thing it shows me is that, obviously my tablet, it tells me what my battery level is. So usually what I do is I charge my tablet probably about once a week, or maybe sometimes twice a week, just depending on how much I use it. And seeing that when I first, log in, is really helpful to let me know if I need to, put it on charge. Now, you can also come here and you can back up your settings. You can get your updates. If there's an update for your tablet, it's going to be right here. It's going to let you know there's an update. And you can also communicate with Wacom if you have a problem with your tablet. You can click here on support and they're able to work with you on that. And then the final button down here will take you to the Wacom store if you wanted to purchase something additional. But, what we're going to look at tonight is some of the controls that you have for your tablets. And this is going to be pretty much universal over all of the tablets. So like you can install Wacom's Inkspace. I don't use that, but the software is available for you. You can install, this is just redeeming software that comes with your tablet. So this is software that would have come with my tablet. I just never installed it because I don't use it. And it would just be, one other application I have on my system that I'm not using. but you can set up your tablet orientation. So if you click here, what this is doing is determining how much of your tablet is going to be utilized for a specific screen. So in my case, I want my tablet, the full size of the tablet, to only apply to the MacBook screen. But I could expand it all the way over to my secondary monitor, and I could use my pen all the way across, the two monitors if I decided I wanted to do that. That is an option to you. And then you have, your different modes. You can determine if you want it to be, to act as a pen or to act more like a mouse. And, you can choose that. And then here, like right here where it says screen area, you can determine if you want it to be full port, a portion of the tablet. So say, for instance, if you went with portion, then what you can do is you can come in here and you can grab these little tabs and you can go, as far down or up as you want to. Just deciding on how much of the screen you want the tablet to cover, but like I said, I'm happy with the way I have it set up here. So, that's one of the things that you can do really easy here is set that up. And then you have other tabs here, like you can set the function for your eraser, you can set the function for your pen, but the functions that you're setting up in this area here are just the general universal functions. So this is going to apply, to everything that does not have a specific setup for a specific application that you're using. And then the touch ring is basically the same thing. So like I was telling you before, with the touch ring, you're able to go in and you can set up gestures. Say, for instance, if you want to use the touchpad, you can, come in here and you can pick the different gestures you want to have, what 2-finger tap will do, what, multiple finger taps will do. You can customize your own personal gestures at the same time. Now, I don't do a lot of that. Like I said, I don't use the touchpad on the Wacom tablet, but it is available to those of you who want, and then you can also adjust the scrolling speed. If you're scrolling websites or something like that, you have that functionality here as well. And, pen settings, is another thing that, I do adjust my pen settings. So as an example, say, for instance, in the all other means all applications other than ones that you set something up special for. You can have it set for a right click, or you can have it set for a double click, or you can even go in and give it actual functions. So you could come in here and give it a keystroke. You could give it a modifier. Some people will set like the do and undo functions here. You can come in and just choose just a variety of different things you can set these buttons up to do. And it's just, it's overwhelming the amount of things you can get them to do. Now, when it comes to the individual, like the express keys, I have my express keys set up, for the most part. Let's say, for instance, here's Photoshop, right? So the express keys that I'm using, like the first one at the very top, as a keystroke, and it's just up. It just means to go up. So that means if I'm in a working on a file and got multiple layers, I can just hit that button and I'll go up a layer. And if I want to come down, I hit the button directly below it. If I want the radio menu to pop up, I would hit the third button. And then if I have a keystroke set up for the fourth button. And then below that, I have undo and redo. And then I also have some keystrokes. One is for creating a stamp layer, and another one is to center my photo. Like if I zoom in really close on something, I can just tap that button and it'll just, bring the photo out to 100%. Okay. So, what else is in here? You have your on-screen controls, and what that is, it allows you to go in and set up all of these different things that can pop up if you set them to a key. So you can have like if you're drawing in Photoshop, there is a panel that can pop up just for drawing. The radio menu is the one that I have, set up. You can, choose that. You can also choose a button that will bring up your settings if you need to jump to your settings really quickly. But, and you can easily come in and add applications. So say, for instance, really quickly, if we wanted to go back over to our express keys and we wanted to set up something additional, say a different application. So I have, all apps, and then I have Photoshop here. So I could easily just click here on add, and then I could come in and I could just pick another application. So let's say, for instance, I wanted to pick Lightroom. I could just click on that, and then it's going to bring Lightroom in. So now I can go in for Lightroom exclusively and set up all these different keystrokes or different things, functions for the buttons, and also for the ring itself. So, you can do that. Now the ring, where's my ring? No, I don't see it. Well, anyway, but like I said, so there's, tutorials here. You can click on your tutorials if you're trying to learn more about the Wacom tablet. There's a ton of tutorials on their site that'll walk you through step by step how to set things up, how to connect Bluetooth. Your basic getting starting documentation is all there. And then they also have a wizard that you can run that just kind of really helps you get started. All right, guys, so we're going to jump over to Lightroom, back to Lightroom, and we already picked our image. So this is the image that we're going to retouch really quick here, and I'm going to try and set this up where you guys can see exactly what I'm doing on Photoshop and in here in Lightroom. So let me switch to a different screen. So I want, okay, so I'm just going to show you more the tablet in the beginning, and then we'll just go over to to Photoshop altogether. Okay, so you can see up in a little small corner, that's our Lightroom that we're looking at right now. So we've already opened this image in Photoshop, so we're just going to go over to Photoshop. Let's just tab over, and I must have lowered Photoshop. Okay, so here's our Photoshop, right? So you can see my tablet here. Now, if you see a lot of guys that are using these little gloves, and I know they look funny, but basically the reason why we use the gloves is to basically keep, skin oil from, accumulating on the tablet itself. So easily enough, what I do when I'm working on one of these images and I'm using my tablet, first thing I do is I come in and I make sure that my tablet is responding, and then I'll zoom in and look at the image really quickly and determine, okay, how much retouching do I really want to do on this image? So in this case, I'm just going to do something super, super fast, guys, just so you can see how efficient you can be with one of these tablets, right? So the first thing I would do, if I know that I'm going to be doing some retouching and I'm going to be taking, maybe some imperfections out of the skin or something like that, then I'm going to just go in here and duplicate this layer, and that's Command J. Okay, so I've duplicated my layer. I'm going to come over to my tools, and I'm going to select my spot healing brush. And then at that point, I'm going to just decide how large I want the brush to be. And then at that point, I can just come in and just start correcting all these little imperfections, okay? So you see, for the most part, what you see me doing here with my hand. So I'm going to just go ahead and switch to another screen so you can see more of the Photoshop stuff itself. Okay. So all I'm doing here is I'm just zooming in and I'm looking for imperfections in her skin, and like a little flyaway hairs here. Some of them might just be a little acne or something like that. And if I just want to touch that up really quickly, I can just come in with the tablet and just draw a line. My pen size is a little too big, like this little flyaway hair right here, and I missed it. So we're just going to draw that out. This little line here on her forehead, we can draw that out. And you can pretty much see exactly how fast this is. Now, I'm not saying that you couldn't do this with a standard, touchpad or something like that. You can, because I've done it. But when you use a tablet, it just makes it that much easier for you to go in and just do the stuff that you want to correct really quickly, especially when it comes to fixing skin and stuff like that when you're doing, these type of retouches. But this applies, the same if you were doing, food photography, or you're working on a video or something like that. So let's just assume, we've gone in and we've done all of our little retouches. I don't see anything major that needs to be retouched on her acne-wise or anything like that. So I could just come here and flatten this image, and I just click here, flatten this image. That's good enough. And then we're going to zoom out. Okay, so now that's our full image that you're looking at right here. So what we want to do really quickly is go in and just, smooth out her skin. We want to create some uniformity in her skin tone. Now there's like, some different colors in her skin because of tanning, or it could be spray on tan. I can't remember on the day of the shoot if they were using spray on tan or not, but we're just going to run this little action right here. And this is all in Photoshop. And it may seem like, there's a lot going on, but like I said, guys, once you get a grasp of this, these things will just come to you so quickly. And, whether you're editing your photos or for someone else, you'll be able to really get in there and make these corrections. So again, whether you're using the Intuos Pro or if you're starting out with one of the smaller tablets, you can still do exactly the same thing. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to reduce the size of this brush, and I'm going to turn this black and white layer off, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer. So let's zoom in. Let's zoom in just a little bit more. Right about, well, that's too much. Okay, that's a good start. Okay, so now with this action, usually what we do is we turn off these top 3 layers and we just work on the color layer. So I'm just going to do it the way most people do it. So I'm going to turn off the high layer, I'm going to turn off the tone layer, and I'm just going to be working here on the color layer. Come over here really quick. I'm going to grab my mixer brush. And those of you that paint, already know what a mixer brush is. And because I created this action in Photoshop, the settings are already preset for me. So now all I have to do is just go in here and just start mixing her skin, the color. I'm not affecting the texture of her skin at all. The only thing I'm doing is, creating some harmony in the imperfections in the skin color. And that's, like I said, sometimes that can be from tanning, it can be from any number of things. But I can easily come in here really quickly using this tablet. I don't think I would be this fast without a tablet. And like I said, I've been doing this for years. And I'm just kind of speeding it up so you guys can see, obviously if I was doing this for a client, I would take a little bit more time. But I want you to see how fast I can come in here and, correct, suntan marks and stuff like that by just mixing her skin tone. And you might even be able to hear me scratching on the tablet. So I'm just going to paint out all of these little imperfections really quickly. So when I'm working with fitness individuals, I try not to lose any of the muscle definition. So I'm very, very careful as I go in and I paint in those areas that I maintain the muscle itself. So where the highlights are, I want to keep those highlights, and the shadows, I want to keep them defined as shadows so you can definitely see where the muscles are. So we're just going to speed through this right there. And then obviously you can still come in here and you can still do, a little bit more retouching. So, but I just wanted to speed through this really quick so you guys can see what I'm doing without going, do the entire body. But we're going to get pretty close to that. So I'm just going over her arm, blending those skin colors. Okay. And we could jump over to this side, maybe a little bit here on the shoulder. And you don't have to do the entire body. You just want to look for areas that you can see, that there may be some miscoloration. And sometimes that'll come from the lights too, because depending on the lights you're using, if you're using continuous lights, you'll see this as a problem. If you're using some strobes, depending on the quality of the strobes, you'll see, some odd colors in the skin that can manifest, depending on how you're shooting. Okay, so let's zero this out. Okay, so that's the full size image. We're going to zoom in here real quick on her face. And I want you guys to be able to see the difference. So I'm going to turn the texture layer back on. So now the texture layer is on, the tone layer is also back on. And I'm just going to close this folder real quick. And this is before, and that's after. Let's zoom in a little closer. Look at her face. That's before, and that's after. And that's even with me talking and, the whole 9 yards. I'm talking about, what's going on here, and I'm still, editing all of this at the same time. So yes, a combination of Photoshop and a really good tablet. You guys can do this, all day long, creating some amazing content, And, just like I said, I wanted to maintain her muscle density for this shot. So usually what I would do at this point is that I would do just a little bit of dodging and burning, right? So I'm just going to create one more layer, a stamp layer here, and I'm going to switch back over to... Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just get in here really, really quick, and I'm just going to do just a little bit of dodging and burning on her body just to give it the muscle and everything back, okay? So I'm just going to run this little action here. Now, whether you're creating actions yourself or you're downloading them from someone else, there's a ton of these actions out there. They're free. A lot of times people will give them to you for free. Now, I create them all the time myself, and I give them to other photographers. I'm like, hey, if you want this action, just, email me or text me or something, and I will send you a link, where you can go and download it. Now, as you notice, I just turned it to black and white. And the reason why I'm turning this to black and white really quick is so I can see where the muscles, the definition is. And then all I'm going to do here is I'm going to choose my burn layer here first. And I'm going to make my brush really small. And right now what I have is my flow and my opacity at 100. So I'm just going to come in here and I'm just going to draw really just little lines on the muscles. Now this is one way to do it. Normally what I do is I would go in and I would actually use 1% and just kind of paint this in. But I'm just showing you guys a really quick way you can do this without having, even if you don't have the skills yet. So I'm just going to grab that brush real quick, and I'm just drawing this little line here, collarbone right there, maybe right here. Look at her face, maybe a little bit here on the nose, not too much on the face. So on the dodge side of things, that's where you want to lighten. So I see that there's a highlight right here and here and here. And say muscle wise, I see there's a couple of highlights right there. And I can just kind of draw these in. So I'm just giving you guys an idea, right? So the first thing I'm going to do on the, turn off the black and white layer because I don't need that anymore. And you can see where I did the little marks on her, right? So right now we're on the dodge layer. So I'm just going to grab this feather and I'm just going to start, mixing this in with her skin color just until those start to pop. Just so we can see that. Then I can go to the burn layer and I can do basically the same thing. I can just start using, adjusting the feather just enough to make those muscles stand out without it looking, artificial. Okay, because we did go in and lose some of that muscle definition with the dodging and burning. I mean, with the frequency separation. And that's before and that's after. Oops. I turned the black and white back on. Okay. Okay. So if I, turn this off and then back on, there you go. So, like I said, all of these things were done in Photoshop, bringing the image straight in from Lightroom. There's no rocket science here. It's just very, very basic things. If you want to go all the way down and look at the image before we, when we first got started, let's go here. That's the image when we first started working on it. And that's the edited version of it, with our, whoops, turn everything back on, with our frequency separation and our dodging and burning. So we got that done pretty quick. So anyway, guys, like I said, if you're interested in a tablet and you're not sure yet which tablet you want to go with, I say, look at the different Wacom tablets that are out there. Like I said, I have been just overwhelmed with the quality of content that I've been able to create and how fast I've been able to create it using, one of these tablets. So I know, people sometimes are on a budget and they're trying to figure out, what their next steps are going to be. And I completely understand that. Trust me, I deal with that literally on a daily basis, and I deal with it with clients as well. But, when I find something that I think can benefit my clients or maybe you guys, and it's going to be done in, some deals where you can save some money, I'm going to put it out there for you guys, so hopefully, you'll be able to take advantage of it. But, even if you don't get it the first time, I'll still be, putting out, content like this, over a period of time. All of my lives is not going to be on, one specific product. But today I definitely wanted to focus on the Wacom tablet because I've gotten so many questions about this tablet. So what I wanted to do was, show you guys multiple versions of the tablet that you can utilize, and, some of the best software you can use in conjunction with using your tablet. So, and that's going to be obviously your, Photoshop and Lightroom. All right, guys. All right, so I will be live tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. So if you guys if you're not already following me, please do so. And if you have nothing going on tomorrow morning, you want to hang out, grab some coffee, and talk about some gear, I will be here tomorrow and we will do just that. And I will be probably coffeeed up by the time we get started. So you know how we roll. All right, guys, stay safe, wash your hands, wear a mask, take care of your loved ones, and get out there and create something amazing. I will see you all tomorrow at 10 a.m. Peace. I'm out.